Daniel Dennett, he wrote a book, Consciousness Explained.
Yeah.
So do you think we are at that stage to explain
No, I
consciousness?
think I keep trying not to say bullshit because I realize you've got a proper, serious sort of a program, but I find it very difficult not to say that. I mean, the point is, Dan, seems to me to describe the problem almost and say, that's it, it's solved. And you see, I go back to what I mean, this links in to what I was talking about with religion and science not asking all the answering, not even asking some of the questions, because can't answer them because he doesn't ask them. And I've always felt that science, of course, can tell you a lot about how the brain works and how this affects the mind, and why, if a certain part of the brain is injured, why this might lead you to have dreams or not to be able to do mathematics anymore or something like that. But I don't think that science can solve the body mind problem. I think at some level that's either religious or a philosophy question. But I'm not sure that philosophers can solve it. So I think it's perfectly legitimate for somebody. So I don't think it's a scientific issue. So it's legitimate for somebody like Dan Dennett to say, I'm a philosopher, let me have a crack at doing it. Fair enough. But we're allowed to say some solutions are better than others. I mean, Descartes, who I defer to nobody in my admiration for Descartes as a philosopher, he had, dualism. He said there's what he called it, res extensa, extended substance, and res cogitans, thinking substance, body and mind. And of course, what Descartes wanted to say was the two are separate. And it's only in humans that they get connected through the pineal gland. Well, I think most philosophers would say, not all, most philosophers would say that just doesn't work. You've made body and mind separate. And now, how do you bring them together? You've made them separate, but you don't have any way of bringing them together. Now, not all philosophers would agree. Some philosophers would say, yes, but. Well, that's what philosophy does. Because Dan, as I see it, takes a materialistic position, and he wants to say, once you've described the machine, then you've solved the problem. And I'm with Leibniz on this. I want to say, once you've described the machine, okay, now what about what about the mind? You describe a machine, where's the mind? I mean, I don't think. I mean, my watch, it's a very good machine. It works very well, but I don't think it's a thinking being. I mean, of course, these days you do have phones, don't you? Siri, what time is it? Or Siri, can you tell me what the temperature is in Mumbai at 8 o'clock tonight? And Siri will undoubtedly tell us a lot better than you would. But I don't think it's got a mind. I think it's been fed in to, by people with minds to do it. And so basically, my criticism of Dan, of course, I'm not alone in this. I mean, I would say probably 95% of philosophers would agree with me on this. So I don't pretend to be, have insights that others don't have. I would want to say, okay, you've described the machine. Now, where's the mind? I mean, okay, it goes round and round, but it's not a thinking being. It's not anything it does that works is because somebody like me or like you, said, I want a machine to make time. How can I do it? And so, we set about doing that, and we do it. I mean, obviously, if you ask Siri about the temperature in Mumbai at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, it's going to do it very, very, very well indeed. But I don't think it's thinking.
Very good. And
I do think, by the way, though, let me just follow through with Dan Dennett. He wrote a little book before he did Consciousness Explained called Elbow Room, which was based on some lectures that he gave at Oxford. And what he's doing is dealing with the free will problem. And he's arguing for what we philosophers call the compatibilist view, namely free will demands law rather than otherwise. And of course, this would be the Calvinist view as well. And I thought that I think in many respects, Elbow Room is the best book that Dan's written. And I must say, I think that what he says about free will in that book, I think is very good. I'm not saying it's the end of the argument. I could see people differing with him on that. But as I've said to him, without, because I'm quite happy to run down Consciousness Explained to him. But I have said, Dan, I think your little book, Elbow Room, I think that's just a beautiful exposition of a particular philosophical position. You're not breaking new ground, but how often do we break new ground in philosophy? But I said, I do feel that you're putting it in modern terms of, modern machines like Mars rover and that sort of thing, which I think are very, very good indeed. So do understand, I'm like a lot of people, I'm critical of Dan Dennett, but I think he's a bright guy, but I don't think he's always wrong.